Welcome to the show. Today we're here to discuss Trump. Trump again invokes bloodbath and dehumanizes migrants in border remarks. The former president has tried to stoke fear around immigration and border security throughout his 2024 campaign, as he has done in the past. Former President Donald J. Trump again cast President Biden's immigration record in violent and ominous terms on Tuesday, accusing him in two speeches in battleground states of creating a border bloodbath and once more using dehumanizing language to describe some migrants entering the country illegally. In a speech in Grand Rapids, Michigan, Mr. Trump, flanked by law enforcement officers, reiterated his baseless claim that other countries were sending prisoners, murderers, drug dealers, mental patients, and terrorists, the worst they have, to the United States. Is he wrong? I don't think so. Immigrant officials have said that most of the people crossing the border are members of vulnerable families escaping poverty and violence. So there are two schools of thought. The minority criminals are giving the majority asylum seekers who really need help a bad name. But he's not necessarily wrong. New York City is full and ridden of crime. People are scared to take the subway. Mr. Trump also used his speech, which lasted roughly 45 minutes, to defend his use of dehumanizing language to refer to immigrants accused of crimes. I think there are about 6 murders a day in New York, which is terrible, even in a city of millions of people. After referring to the man who the authorities say killed a 22-year-old nursing student in Georgia in February, Mr. Trump said, Democrats said, please don't call them animals. I said, no, they're not humans, they're animals. Again, he uses a particular type of language to excite his base and annoys competitors. It's a great PR tactic that Trump has always used. Just say my name, whether it's good or bad, just say my name. Mr. Trump drew attention last month when, while discussing the U.S. auto industry, he predicted a bloodbath for the country should he lose in November. That was misconstrued also. People took him out of context. What he was saying is, if we keep exporting our manufacturing to China, we're going to be in trouble. What if China decides to stop producing cars or iPhones or anything of that nature for U.S. customers? What do we do then? After critics accused him of stoking violence, Mr. Trump and his allies pointed back to Mr. Biden, insisting he was responsible for a bloodbath because of his immigration policies. The former president has repeatedly criticized Mr. Biden, accusing him of maintaining lax border security that he blames for violent crime. Though available data does not support the idea that migrants are contributing to increases in crime, I disagree. Mr. Trump's campaign appears to be trying to turn bloodbath into a catchphrase, essentially trolling his critics and shifting the focus to Mr. Biden, another great tactic that Trump uses. On Tuesday, the Republican National Committee, which the Trump campaign now effectively controls, introduced a website, bidenbloodbath.com. You can't beat this guy. That mirrors Mr. Trump's argument that Mr. Biden is responsible for an invasion at the United States border with Mexico. Remember that Trump wanted to build a wall. The site highlights a number of violent crimes in which undocumented immigrants have been accused. That's not false. Also, we've seen migrants committing all kinds of crimes in the U.S., whether it's robbing women, pushing people on subway tracks, bringing fire into the subway, and randomly attacking people. It's crazy. But his remarks in Michigan and at a rally later in Green Bay, Wisconsin, also demonstrated how the former president has tried to stoke fears around immigration and border security in the 2024 election, a tactic he used effectively in 2016. If it's not broken, why fix it? Republicans have been eager to keep the issue at the top of voters' minds in a bid to chip away at Mr. Biden's support. This is country changing. It's country threatening and it's country wrecking, Mr. Trump said in Michigan of migrants crossing the southern border. They have wrecked our country. He's somewhat right. There's nothing wrong with immigration if it's done legally. Why should it be fair that people who have applied legally are waiting while others are allowed to cross illegally and are being handed prepaid credit cards and staying in hotels in Manhattan? Doesn't seem fair. Democrats have pushed back against that framing ahead of Mr. Trump's visit. The Democratic National Committee put up billboards near Grand Rapids referring to a bipartisan border bill that fell apart in the Senate after Mr. Trump pressed Republicans to block it. The billboards claim that Donald Trump broke the border and that the former president wanted only chaos, not solutions. Mr. Trump's speeches in both states were his first campaign events after a weeks-long break from the trial, during which he raised money, contended with legal issues, and blasted his political and legal opponents on social media. Mr. Trump has seized on high-profile crimes involving immigrants to try to make inroads in key battleground states, including Michigan and Wisconsin, connecting the influx of migrants at the southern border to states hundreds of miles away. On Tuesday, he said that once peaceful suburban Michigan was coming under an invasion and spoke of the recent killing of Ruby Garcia, who was found dead on the side of a highway in Grand Rapids last month. The authorities have said that Ms. Garcia was dating the man accused of killing her, who entered the country illegally as a child and was deported to Mexico in 2020. Facts are facts. Michigan Democrats blasted Mr. Trump's references to Ms. Garcia remarks before his appearance. Senator Debbie Stabenow, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Democrat of Michigan, said Mr. Trump was exploiting Ms. Garcia's death and called his response shameful. And while Mr. Trump said in Michigan that he had spoken with some of Ms. Garcia's family, her sister told a local television station that Mr. Trump did not speak with us. Ahead of Mr. Trump's speech in Michigan, his campaign handed out packets of reporters that highlighted other people who the campaign said had been affected by crimes involving undocumented immigrants. They include Laken Riley, the Georgia nursing student, whose death has become a flashpoint among Republicans. The authorities say Ms. Riley was killed by a Venezuelan migrant who had entered the country illegally. Where do we go from here? Pete Hoekstra, the chair of the Michigan Republican Party, said that it's clear immigration and the economy are going to dominate the debate here in Michigan. He added that he believed voters in the state look at what's happening on the border. It's hard for them to believe exactly what they're seeing, that there's no rule of law. There are plenty of veterans who were homeless in New York and not being cared for, but were housing illegal immigrants. Make it make sense. Both Michigan and Wisconsin were part of the so-called blue wall that Democrats had counted on for 2 decades before the 2016 race, when Mr. Trump won over working-class white voters who are key parts of the electorate in both states. Mr. Biden won both states in 2020 although Mr. Trump falsely claimed during his rally in Wisconsin, which held its presidential primaries on Tuesday, that he had won there by a lot. He loves catchphrases and insisted that the election had been stolen from him. Democrats also won governor's races in both states in 2018 and defended their seats in 2022, in part by making protection abortion access central to their races. The party continued its efforts on Tuesday to make abortion rights a key campaign issue. They're trying to win over the female vote. Though Mr. Biden did not hold public campaign events, his campaign seized on a ruling by the Florida Supreme Court on Monday that allowed the state's 6-week abortion ban, but also put abortion access on the ballot there this fall. There is little indication that Mr. Biden will devote significant time and resources to competing in Florida, but his campaign released a television ad that it plans to run in battleground states, including Michigan and Wisconsin. Advertising works. Even the politicians use it. That attacked Mr. Trump for statements claiming credit for the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade in 2022. A senior advisor for the Trump campaign, Brian Hughes, addressed the ruling in Florida, saying in a statement that Mr. Trump supports states' rights and thinks voters should have the last word. Mr. Trump did not mention abortion or his role in appointing 3 of the Supreme Court justices who helped overturn Roe at either event, but after his remarks in Michigan, he responded to a reporter's question about the Florida ruling by saying that his campaign would be making a statement next week on abortion. Keep them waiting and salivating. A great PR tactic. A spokeswoman for the Democratic National Committee, Ida Ross, said in a statement, "We don't need to wait until next week to know where Donald Trump stands on abortion. He has been peddling the same anti-choice extremism for years." Keep it locked, and thanks for stopping by. Please like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.